how shit we were. But less people this time around because we have more stuff going on at the moment. So having a chemical next to your feedback is great. It means that you don't get half the people that will heckle you. Oh no, why are you there?
Hi Pete!
I didn't agree to this.
Thank you.
Okay, so what do you want to start with? We're about to start at the beginning, fairground. Yeah, we start the fairground Friday evening. We try to increase the amount of food available this time. I hope everybody was.
Yeah.
So now you're saying there's too much.
This is a good level. This is a good level. It was very good food as well.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I thought I did really well. That's a good selection. Credit where he's doing because we have a lot to stick otherwise, but Pete did sort it out with those.
Pete's been working really hard behind the scenes with hotel negotiations, and I think this year it really has shown. We've had the food we want, we've had amazing service from the hotel
They
staff.
gave you the labels, okay. I'm asking them to label the food, but they didn't want to label the food. Unknown meat.
Thing.
Well, I've got to see that. That's too far.
So we just had a comment saying that the staff have been very friendly this year, and that's, in general, I'd say that's been very true. It's been
I'd say that, yeah.
true. But it's always difficult seeing it from the committee point of view, because as soon as I see the committee badge, they go, have things.
What we do,
Yeah.
have a free meal. A free
This
beer.
year it's been much better.
The one guy in particular at the bar has been really
Okay.
yes.
I mean, yeah, we'll speed that back to the hotel.
Yeah, the new guy, the taller guy?
The taller guy,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's been really impressive. He's been on most nights and most mornings.
It's not the way he keeps saying.
Yeah,
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He is. When I gave him the menus, he was picking out the characters and telling me who they are. So he's enthusiastic.
So the hotel even actually tried to make the anime menus for us this year.
I saw the first draft.
Isn't the first draft that took some work, but it was enthusiasm, okay? It's something we haven't had before.
Yeah, I've never seen Black Tifa before. That was
But
brilliant.
it's still enthusiasm.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice to make the effort to do it.
It's black and not the Tifa. Well, define the fan out of Tifa that was black and gold. With watermelons.
That is scary.
It's brilliant. So, yeah, fairground games, as in the stalls which are out and about. Did you all play them? Did you use them? What did you make of them? Yeah?
I was trying to finish off with that food.
Yeah, I was mostly using as well, but that was good.
Yeah, that can change.
Is there anything you guys want to see at the fairground?
A sign at the end?
Fairground games.
So Q this way sort of thing on each game.
Okay, yeah.
Is there anything that anybody wants to see at the fairground?
Uh-huh.
It's not going to happen. Naked maids, not going to happen.
Naked, just stopped up.
No, we are not putting 2 inches of eyeliner on anybody.
See, I did kind of miss having the limbo stick that was there the year before.
Entirely my fault, I forgot to pack it.
Big gap in the middle.
Blame Argos, they stopped selling it.
Okay. And then on to the actual show. How was that for people, as in games, as in the content of the games, player selection, anything you can think about that, any feedback on that?
I've never watched Absolutely Fabulous and can't figure out what movie insulting off
Okay.
So everyone else is laughing, so I'm guessing this is funny.
Yeah.
But I was just sat there going, "You making abortion jokes? That's not okay." So it was funny. Everyone else thought it was funny. So I think it's more that I don't know the show, so I didn't understand the context. It wasn't. I did find the performance a little bit I didn't quite get it because I don't know the design.
So I watched someone who hadn't seen Absolutely Fabulous before, but they did
laughing
enjoy
almost
it.
with tears in their eyes, going, "This is perfect. This is brilliant." I was like, "I've never seen this show. What's happening?"
I thought it was hilarious, and I know I agreed. I would have liked a bit more time spent on the games, but
The sort of in-between pieces seem to go on a little bit long.
Yeah, I know. For me, it didn't really flow fast enough.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
But
because at the beginning it didn't flow fast enough. Towards the end it was moving.
yeah.
But at the beginning it was kind of like, we would all sit here and be insulted. I'm not so sure. It's funny in places, but it could have been much tighter, I think, the word is.
I really liked the new games, and I really liked how they were in theme. That was a lot of fun for me personally.
The helmets was brilliant with the that was really funny.
But I did miss the Sardi rice fillers.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh yeah.
Well,
So would you guys like some more food themed games?
It's, to be honest, I guess it's suffering thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want
Penalty
to see
stuff.
Yeah. Because I don't know if like the Iron cosplay. A lot of the hilarity there is the suffering.
More duct tape.
What, you mean the fact that me and Pete could even dust? Yeah.
But
you haven't been
but I
on stage in a
don't know.
while.
The random cracking bags varies a little bit, but possibly it just wasn't humiliating enough.
So you want us to put a few more songs in the bags and maybe, just duct tape?
Nothing that ruins people's clothes, but
Cling film and duct tape.
but don't underestimate the comedy value of people suffering.
A mummy run. Wrap people up in cling film and make them run.
Well, I've got eating games / suffering. So.
Next to suffering, Joe.
Oh yeah, of course. Joe volunteered, didn't he?
Because last year, one of the other new games you had last year was the big hands and the big feet, and it was awkward because it was running around in a packed room, so I can understand why you didn't bring it back. Yeah. But let's face it, the hilarity there is the fact that it's really bloody difficult, and it's...
Oh, that was brilliant.
And I might
suffering theme. That's good.
So you like throwing your balls in people's faces?
Yes. You always knew that.
Not in people's faces, in their pants.
You want to put your balls in people's pants? We'll make a note of that.
You can make a note of that.
We could just leave the notes on the
I've got
floor.
audience interaction from that.
It's like the remake of the rock paper scissors, doing it with the themes with samurai grinding. It was different. It was nice to have something that was old but refresh it a bit.
Well, that's the traditional way it was played.
We've seen many funny photos online of geisha posing as tigers and just laughing their heads off as they do it. So it's good.
I did love that. It was really funny.
I think that's almost it for Friday night show, unless anyone's got anything else to add. Anything they'd like to see, any ideas? No?
In a way, I think you need to publicise your fairground games a little bit better, because especially when there's crowds, you might not realise they're there.
That's a good point. A list would be good.
And there were banners and stuff, but you have to be at the right angle to see them. I don't know if. Yeah, but.
If there were the lines, if there were actual lines as well, to probably help show that here they are, this is where they are.
Maybe a little jukebox. Like what we want to do for the wedding with the table on the floor. We give people a little map in their com bags and they can follow their lines.
That would be brilliant.
That would be
exactly what one's on about.
Because I didn't notice a couple of them were there, like the one with the hats I didn't notice for ages and just pointed it out to me.
Yeah.
Splat the Rat was sort of stuck in between two big ones.
Yeah. Thank you for making the point.
There was a photographer and I was like, is that a game? Is that something I'm missing?
Okay, that's cool. We'll certainly do that.
That was so much fun.
But I think mostly Friday night was just excellent. There was no food, there was not games.
It didn't overrun.
It didn't overrun, which was amazing.
Okay, who wants to go first?
No.
You go first.
I know for when the main show starts, I don't know if that was just a free roaming, so you got time to set everything up. So I was like,
we do that when we feel like the fairground games are dying.
So yeah, we want to give people enough time to play things and have some food and get something alcoholic in their hands.
Typically it's an hour and a half.
From what I've seen, actually, there are more people staying each year for the variety show than the number of people staying on the first time, so there's like one workplace in.
It seems a little crowded this year. I don't know.
The stage had to be brought forward a bit for some of the hanging games, and if we continue with
what is suffering? We've got hanging games.
It wasn't just the character show, actually. The party room itself, the moment we opened, we actually filled up with a lot more people than we normally had in the past. And that's because last year some people said, you never advertised that you had free food at the party. And so I made sure that there was in the PR, the buffet spread and everything else, and I don't know whether that had an effect in getting people to come.
I suspect there might have been food left over because people are used to it running out, so if they're not there right at the start, they go, oh.
We did have it staggered this year as well. So
That worked out well.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they did.
We went for food beforehand because we weren't sure how much food there would be.
I do remember
So for next year, let's assume there's lots of food.
Yeah.
And then if there isn't, we can go away after.
Well, make sure you publicise the fact that you didn't run out of food in the run-up to the next one, so people...
Do you remember the very first time I came to Minami, I went and played the games first, then when I went to get food and then there was nothing. And then every other year I was like, the first thing you go for is food. It doesn't even matter if you're not hungry, just go for the food first. Having it staggered is so much better.
What were you going to say? I cut you off.
It was broadly complimentary. Essentially, despite there are obviously things which could be changed to improve, but don't miss the fact that this year was good. Don't change it in ways which make it worse.
The staggering the food was definitely good. I mean, previous years when I've come right at the start and still not managed to get a lot. And then like this year I didn't come till quite late and there was loads of food left, so that was really good.
I think we shouldn't underestimate the powers of P-Chan's negotiation ability as well.
So considering the negotiating powers of P-Chan, why on earth do you put him in front of tech ever?
I know, right? You can't reason with technology though, can you?
You want to love you really?
Guys, put it this way. If you think how things go wrong with P-Chan and tech, and he's pretty experienced, imagine what it would be like if you guys tried learning the tech for the entire time. I think it would be a pretty good disaster. I mean, this is 20 years in now.
Yes, he knows I'm only joking.
I know.
Oh, are you?
You say that, and he's gonna be waiting in the car park with his shovel.
Well, next year the baby's taking on technical difficulties.
Yeah, baby Freddy for tech, basically.
He's even raising his hand for it. Okay, so where do we go from fairground? Events?
Yeah, move into Friday evening, so we had Choco's children.
Yeah, children and party. Did you guys attend? Did you see it?
Yeah. Did you really well?
Was the atmosphere good there? Was
People were dancing. That's kind of better than last year.
The party was slow to start, people were slow to come back to the party.
I think people went out because the bar closed, didn't they?
No, they weren't. The bar staff were washing glasses to the side, so you actually had to go up to the bar and then...
Well, people thought it was closed, so they went to the other bar, so it kind of cleared out.
There was a whole bunch of us in the party room. We were in the party room with the music playing, but we were in there because it was quieter than the main bar without any music. So that was nice.
The first part of that was meant to be a chill room kind of thing, people sit down and
it met its purpose in that case.
That worked, and then afterwards the party started, so that's why you might say it's slow to start, that's because it was on purposely put. At the start it'd be nice, relax, get some people in, get some more drinks, and perhaps let people who wanted to nip out for more food, thinking that we wouldn't have enough food, go and grab something. That was a fail on our part.
I think it worked pretty well.
Apart from that, to just make sure that the staff are available, at least visible as a sign of something.
Yeah, I think
ring for service.
Something weird. I'm not sure how. I think it's mainly just educational on our part going, just look around the bar.
You can't keep
Our
on.
bars open unless the door's shut.
Yeah, exactly. No, it definitely works in that case, yeah. It achieved its stated purpose.
And the Fanaway Disco.
What?
The Fanaway Disco, which was
the same party.
it follows
it's
on.
the same party, but the music gets a little bit lighter and
A little more anime, less jazz, basically.
That's cool.
Well, were you in there for the jazzy part? Where
I was
no
there
more?
until like 2012 in the morning.
Okay, yeah, the smooth jazz played earlier on.
Oh, okay.
It was very smooth.
It was.
More smooth and less jazzy.
Sorry?
People were dancing.
Yes, yeah,
Oh, the Countess, yeah.
That was awesome.
Get in, it was round.
Yeah, it was very popular, wasn't it?
It was superb.
It was a great
More
twist.
spaces.
It was a great twist on the traditional sort of anime quiz. Normally it's like everyone sits around the table and just fill out the things. It was nice to have more sort of the audience participation.
It had a couple of issues with it, but Chris has taken them all in. He knows those little things he could fix with it, and he seems eager to do it next year as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time he's ran that particular style event as well, which is why there's tweaks to be made. So.
I think it's too popular. I think he should make it a little bit more rubbish. We can't make the room bigger.
Room 1 and 2.
Or make him run it twice a call.
No. Alright, we're going to have to make people smaller, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's easier.
The only way to get that room to be bigger is have it on Saturday night next to karaoke.
But then you've got a pub quiz on the Saturday.
Well, the pub quiz goes to Fridays.
And yes,
It's better if it runs the quiz, I guess.
The only other option for it would be to actually
I was going to say,
just double room with that.
could you not do room 3 and 4?
It would be repositioning the.
No, well, I just think of the favorite one.
Turned away.
I mean,
Yeah.
the room one's just
She wears that videos.
we'll do that video. Don't share it.
Cool. Ooh, we're going to have to turn to a schedule. Oh, you've already got one. Can I have yours? So it's not covered in sweat and pen and God knows what else. Oh, it is actually.
Mike, here's your one. The one that says Mike schedule.
What are you doing with it?
I did that.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
No? Okay. So, rather than listed every individual event, did anyone go to any of the cosplay sort of tutorial style events?
Yep.
Were there enough of them?
Yeah, so mixes.
The event spread in general this year I think has been excellent. There's been something to do all the time and there's been a good variety of things.
Is there anything that people didn't like or didn't think was appropriate?
No, that'd be too hard a question. Is there anything that people exceptionally like that want to see come back again?
Iron cosplay, I know I say it every single year, but Iron cosplay really needs a bigger room.
No, half the fun is not the space.
So remember what you were saying about suffering for comedy? Now you have suffering for comedy.
Next year,
Collapsed in my room with the mic.
as well, to make it even hotter.
In terms of the cosplay events, stuff where you're actually making something is so much
I mean, we
fun.
could put it in the video.
Things like that, if
I think
people
one
are
year
willing to
that
run
would be-
those, that's a
You can
great
get that many
Yeah, the
people
puppet-
to cosplay.
The puppets in clay were great.
Put it in the bigger room. That, most of the stuff I find.
I do think
I guess it's that we're not really sure that people come just to watch as well. So we can change around.
We've got hands-on cosplay workshops.
I do think we need to put a limit on team size for Iron cosplay.
I try and think but you try and break up.
Well, the thing is, we had to
Cat
turn
team
entire teams away because the room was too small for any more people.
Maybe it does deserve a bigger room
I
then.
mean, also, you were in tabs team. Would you want to be split up? Let's put it this way. Exactly. It's a difficult one.
I'll bring the shed back.
Iron cosplay car park could work.
That's extra hardship.
It's possible.
More suffering.
You can ice it over too, that's
Anything
I cosplay
I say
on
on
ice.
roller boots.
I cosplay on ice.
Is the suffering level enough yet or not?
Tigers. And tigers.
Yeah. I want to say other workshops and tutorials,
Cooking with
but
butter,
there's
right?
too many. Cooking with Babbitt is
So
good.
we want more cooking with Babbitt, yeah?
I think what I liked about this one was that there were lots of different fill-ins for funds, and so you could pick which one you wanted, or you could go around and watch them all being made. So there was variety in it as well.
I think I did that partially because with some of our attendees can eat meat, some can't eat meat, some have other issues with what they can eat and not. The other fact is, if you ever go to Japan and you go to convenience stores, you don't just get one flavour, but you get 3 or 4, and half the fun is that what does pizza bun taste like? It doesn't taste better than pork bun. No, but curry bun is the ultimate. That's probably true. Curry bun is the ultimate.
Cooking related, having the recipes in the com book.
Yeah, that was.
I've never actually got to go to Cooking with Babbitt because I'm put off by the queue.
Sorry.
But putting recipes in com book, good.
Well, that's the first half of the recipes from the first couple of years, and so the next half will be in the com book for 20 to give people can register for part 20 if you want the other half of the com book, basically. Yeah, I know. Shameless plug, shameless.
You have so much trouble filling out.
Yeah, well, the worst problem is I've got no idea what to cook for next year.
Learn to cook next year, make it really difficult.
No.
It's alright, I only suffered like the weekend before eating all his.
Master Chef style.
Last week we made
walking around going
it's just useless to me.
Every evening has been different type of bun, trying to perfect it and get it right. And by the end of the week, we just fed up with bloody buns.
I looked at my watch and I was like, oh, that started an hour ago. Shit.
But I only made it to one of her panels, but I did love Akemi's traditional dance panel. That was really different and really interesting.
That was awesome. Was it good?
I actually could have done this a longer time because it did run a little. It had to run. It was a little late in starting, and it was a little bit complicated to learn. It would have been nice to have a longer part of the learn.
So what are we talking about combo? What do people think of the combo this year then?
Really like
Oh, yeah, the combo this year is outstanding.
Yes. It was a little bit not having the event descriptions with the actual schedule. I ended up sort of tearing my
So that's because they're completed at two very different times.
I understand why.
Yeah.
Convention distraction.
Yeah.
Should ban it for life.
There were a few things that were on the schedule but weren't in the description. So
yeah.
And there was also that hidden one that
I know. It's not really hidden per se.
It's obviously the schedules can change.
Yeah, because like printing book takes about 3 weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
I got the schedule finish what, Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
I would say one thing about the combo is the anime titles sometimes were translated in the com book but weren't translated on the schedule, which made it a bit fun to try and work out what was what.
Yeah, that was the same with the dramas as well.
Yeah. That's like
exercise in Japanese skill.
If you can't translate it, you don't deserve to watch it.
Yes, you're not allowed to watch it.
The com book, I didn't see the bring and buy times in there anywhere. So when you could drop stuff off, when you could.
You saw the bring and buy room.
I
guess
room 5 when you get here to find out.
You know where it is.
Yeah, well I do, but
occasionally, there's the same with the games with timings as well. Yeah, games with timings.
It's usually times if you're supposed to plan your week in advance, and once you sort of see the schedule come up, because you always see that email out anyway, so to know when the
yeah.
It's quite true though. I mean, I took the room signs from last year's room signs and changed the artwork and the fonts and things to match this year's style. But there was emails flying around saying, "Are these the right times for everything? We didn't change anything.
We changed
everything to know
things.
we did last time."
We did the bring and buy thing. It's like, let's for a change actually not have people handing in goods while we're opening. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think that was the only major change I saw in the entire time.
Oh, apart from we had to extend ops as well because the.
Well, that's true. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then we extended.
We also started everything later this year, didn't we?
No.
I've been smelling my own socks again, don't worry.
Let's go to masquerade. Room layout.
Yay! So I have a name. I hate it.
It might be difficult tech-wise, but it's so much better for people in the audience.
Stay position at the either far right side, I guess.
If you're on the, even if you're on the right side,
far right side because that was the masqueraders.
I would more facing the front.
But even that, I mean, that was fine because people would still come around. You still saw the costumes.
Yeah, you still got to see everyone.
A suggestion for people on the far ends, if it's so much of a problem, why not try angling the chairs so they've got a more enough seats?
Yeah. Yeah, like if you turn the chairs around, they take up more space laterally, and you can't get as many in.
So this is the first year we've actually run on the horizontal setup, and so things will get tweaked for next year. Things like the speakers, yes, we know the centre 2 speakers were on, and in hindsight, those centre 2 speakers might have been turned off, but we've got to learn these things. Yeah, I mean, if anyone remembers Minami 10, where we actually did the first long route, and then we had people bumping into chairs, we had cosplayers turning the wrong way at the stage and going to the fire exit. It was quite an interesting time, but it's teething issues.
Yeah.
The main thing is the general idea good, and it sounds like the general idea is there, and is it better than previous years?
Yeah. Sitting the back is more enjoyable.
One tiny addition I'd like to say is I was sitting on the right hand side, and a lot of the time the cosplayers would come in, then they'd come over, and then they'd pose in front of the judges, and they'd continue. And the right hand side sometimes didn't get to see, like, you know.
So you want to pose in position on the right hand side?
I think there needs to be a posing position. Taking pictures on the right hand side as well. You did 3 stops. Just
stops, but some people don't even stop even when they're supposed to in front of the judges.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is a case of even if you tell the cosplay stop, they're not going to.
There were crosses on the floor and everything.
Yeah, I think some of the masqueraders were confused with the new layout as well. So
yeah, I think maybe they'll get used to it.
It's tweaking now, I think.
Is there any room for a stage or a small platform for that? Because we were right at the back, which was much better view than I've ever had before, but it was a bit tricky because you could see people's heads and the top bits, but we were too far away to see the screen that was in the corner, and sometimes it was like, what's going on?
So you think we should
if they were a little bit raised? Yeah, just a little bit.
If you put the staging in the 2 back corners again to pull people up.
Yeah, just so we can see them.
Like we used to staging in the back of the long room.
Go up and down.
The chairs all I'd say not the corners.
Oh, move the people up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's much better view than ever. I really liked the layout, but I just couldn't see people. We were just like.
Yes.
But if you don't need it.
Yeah, the only issue is some of the costumes getting up and getting down.
No, for the seating on stage and chairs on top of the stage.
No, I didn't actually.
What you want to hear, not. But if you do raise the chairs at the back, like on the stage, then the cosplayers don't need to go up and down.
Yeah, I think that's why we're thinking if we raise the stage.
That did used to work quite well in the long run.
Stages at the back of the chairs in the blind spots from the TV would work. Given the kind of performances that people occasionally do here, a sudden stage might be.
I think stages for the chairs at the back left and right would work perfectly and do exactly what you want from the opposite point of view.
Gentleman in the blue here,
No, it's just I thought the idea of the sort of video feed on the right was great. It's just sometimes it wasn't always pointing at sort of, you know,
it was a man, wasn't it? Yeah.
There wasn't a man video feed. Or 2.
But other than that, it was great. It was a great idea.
To back against everyone else's opinion, I'm sure it worked as better for everyone that can see, but from a camera point of view, it was an absolute nightmare to find a place where I could actually film. And I know a lot of the photographers know that. We're trying to find a place they could actually sit and not have the glare of the screen or just get an angle, and there wasn't really anywhere
Would that
designated.
be solved if there were more posing spots?
Not necessarily. If there's a, I don't know if it's.
Probably want them on the corner thing because I had a fantastic.
That actually comes down to experience with the new room layout, though.
Yeah. Possibly. Well, the thing was, I was moved 3 times with my camera because I kept finding places. Okay, this would work. No, you can't sit here. That's where the cosplayers are going to be. I'll sit here. Oh no, someone in front is sitting in front of you as part of the skit. Okay, here's a place. Oh no, that man is constantly always in the way of the screen. I was like, so my finish is pretty off. So it's just somewhere. I mean, yes, if I'd known where people were going to be standing during the masquerade and that, it would have helped a lot more. But it would be nice if there'd been like a space where people, okay, here's a spot that says they're mostly for photographers or videographers, considering how many of them are actually sitting cross-legged in front trying to get a good shot.
Which other spots to be considered, basically?
The main thing is the question comes, who's a professional photographer? Who has a camera that looks like a professional, and the next thing you know, everyone's got a camera. We just have to figure out a way to do that.
Because it's pre-register, I guess.
When they get to meetings organised photographer.
Yeah, that's more.
The first 5 to get.
That's something I think we need to think about how to do.
Penny patch.
Basically, who does P-Chan contact when he wants video? That was my idea.
What? How do people find the lighting with the masquerade?
It's okay.
It's good to say, the lighting in general seemed to be okay, but there were a couple of the videos that it was quite difficult to see because of how dark it was. And later on, when the lights were switched off for the video feeds, it was much easier to see. But when people had skits that they had videos for, sometimes it was just with the lighting turned down a bit in spaces. So probably just asking the masquerades as to, would you like what point would you like a bit of light giving? But I think it would have helped.
More things to be done.
I think from a photographer's point of view, that's going to be a nightmare because they have to readjust to everything. I think we need to agree an ambient level.
Yeah, the problem is normally I just turn off these lights and then just have halogens. However, this year there's been mood lighting instead. So I'm not sure having the mood lighting on would be.
Guys, we've got one question just over here for me.
Given that everybody's coming down the main length of the room, I was sitting right at the end. There's lots of space, back area. Could not a couple of people with video cameras, they'd be out of the way of the costumes and they'd have to see everybody coming down. They'd stop at 3 various ones, depending on which one.
And a posing area.
You won't be able to get shots of the skits.
Shots for skits from that angle would be difficult.
Because when it came to skits, the best side was the right side, and that was dedicated to cosplayers until the room filled up, and then suddenly normal people were allowed to sit there anyway.
I know cosplayers have been getting the raw deal for the last 18 years.
So this year they got the best deal.
Well, they actually didn't, because normal people were allowed to sit in the front rows anyway before the cosplayers came out.
I'll think about it more. Apart with the redrawn layout on
Have a look at them.
on the web,
have a look
and
at
then
that.
people kind of ask
It
people
doesn't
who
help
actually
you don't
want
know how
to
many cosplayers there are going to be.
stuff there.
That was one of the things that seems to be the issue this year, is not knowing how many seats are going to be taken up by cosplayers.
There seems to be a lot more people in the masquerade this year than have been in previous years.
We only lost about 30 seats, 30 to 50 seats compared to the other layout.
I think we could have gained that in the back row though.
Yeah.
I think we could have got an extra row of seats on. There's a lot of
You're
space
running
there.
out. I mean, do people feel trapped in the masquerade or not? I guess the question. For people that are sat in quite in the middle, you're pretty much stuck there.
Yeah, I had to climb it. I had to go out the back to it with my friends. I had to climb over the seats to get out.
Would that be an issue for people? I guess that's more a question. Because we could free up an escape row, but that's another row of seats that we're going to lose. So it's kind of
I feel like an escape column, so you only have to jump across 5 people to get out.
but that's still.
I was stuck in the back row. I didn't have to do it, so it was fine.
Yeah, we'll have to think a bit more. I mean, we didn't know how many seats we could fit in until half an hour beforehand. So.
To be honest, that sort of thing, seating in a regular theatre performance is like that anyway, so you can't complain too much.
That makes a conception.
I got a number from Martin, we had 274 seats.
We love it at 320.
320? That many? I was thinking we could push it to 300 if we better. But,
there was extra space on the right-hand side of the cosplay as well. You could have had in another couple of columns of chairs.
yeah. There was also some issue that this style of chair, the ones that they replaced the old ones with, there's a limited number of those, and we had all of the chairs that they might have. What we didn't realise is if you go to another storeroom, they've got the older type of chairs there, and that's what we didn't have, was the older types as well as the new type. We only had a few of those.
The older chair was in there because they get onto each other.
Yeah, they are thinner because I remember one unfortunately breaking.
Wouldn't it be possible to do multi-facing chairs though? So basically, so you've got the main block in the middle that are all facing forward, and then the blocks on the sides facing inwards. Because I mean, I was
losing of seats.
Would you lose seats then?
They're not
basically
angles,
just be
just
turning
facing
them 90
inwards.
degrees
Yeah, just
and making racks that way instead.
Also, you could probably extend the sides further up the
Yeah.
sides if you
You
have
should
them
be able
angled
to basically go right to this wall then.
So you have a row of seats.
So you have the seats facing forward and you can face that way. 90 degrees.
The only issue with the
They face the island.
The issue with the person right at the back.
Yeah.
They could be side by side.
But you'd be like that in the theatre.
It's going to be the same.
Did anybody actually cosplay in the masquerade?
Yeah.
How big were the walkways be? Did you feel they were excessive or?
Well, the ant cat was able to actually do a complete donut.
Nothing that says it all, does it?
I would say just because we were at the judges' table at the front.
I saw Will automatically go for his beer and
Yeah.
pull it back. Everybody just went.
Yeah, we didn't
all the
think the
judges
ant cat would
went.
make that
Yeah.
sound.
I think it is better to be on the safer side and have them maybe a little extra wide than have them too narrow.
Especially when you've got people running around as part of the skit.
Sorry. Right. Okay. Because all I was thinking from sort of like where I was sitting, it was really difficult to do anything from where I was, because I was sitting sort of like far right as you face in the front, and I constantly felt like I was kind of really having to sort of like crane to see what was going
So
on.
if your seat's been at 90 degrees for that.
Yeah, that's why I was sort of like suggesting like the 90 degree, but it's not possible. It's not possible.
I mean, we'll take a look again.
Take a look and see.
Yeah.
Just on another note, like this is my first time in company. I really like the fact you got custom music for each cosplayer.
He doesn't.
I think that all of the conventions I've been to have just had actual soundtrack play, but I like that you got custom.
I put two cookies custom next to each other. I was like, shit.
Should have asked us.
What?
Should have just asked us.
No, I thought it was two different songs.
Because they were labelled up differently, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Well, I found the one for Maz, and then whoever supplied Nanny supplied the other one. So.
It's like very dissonant when a cosplay comes on and then a song comes on that's completely different mood to the cosplay, and it's a bit sort of.
Yeah, there was one that was not the sort of online girl had some English song which I was going, what on earth is this?
Oh, that was Beyonce.
Yeah.
That's just cosplayer's choice though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
That's
reason
what they
for that
want.
is because the character is a really strong, ballsy woman who.
You don't need no man.
Well,
If you guys
obviously, I do a lot of masquerades, and girls seem really keen on using that as their masquerade music. I've used it a few times in the last
it's
year.
empowering.
Is it empowering, is it?
Yeah. You've got Beyonce wearing not a lot, kicking the ass very nice. What's not to
Hey,
Something for everyone.
it's a bit of a shit song. That's what
So is there any other comments on the masquerade in general then, not just the layout of it?
Microphones didn't work very well.
Yeah, could we make sure the microphones are switched on when they're handed to people?
No, I was giving them switched on to the people as they came in, but there was like sometimes one would work,
microphone
one wouldn't work.
Yeah,
closer to the mouth, not down here.
It was. I think that's something. I think the better thing to say is people need to be briefed on how to use a mic, because people use a mic like they see on TV and they hold it like this and go la 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 la. But a microphone, you actually talk down it.
And you need it quite close to your mouth as well.
Well, yeah.
Can you not just like take one of the mobile microphones into like the thing they do beforehand for masquerades, the briefing, and just get people
just
to
say
track
this is how you
the
this is how you switch
Just
on.
repeat it, because it's something
Yeah.
that you would
just
just using one who need to learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's an idea for a panel.
Yeah. Come here, we'll teach you how to use microphones.
Yeah.
No, you think you want a lapel mic. You're wrong.
And here's why.
Feedback.
Well, the other thing we have for the
Just move it.
The difficulty is when you're talking into a microphone, because you know what you're saying and you can kind of hear yourself anyway, you think you're projecting your voice absolutely fine. You can talk to a microphone off and you can think everyone can hear you because you know what you're saying.
But then one of the mic was broken.
Yeah, it was playing up, wasn't it? I mean, even the hosts, the experienced hosts, were
one of them was broken and the other two was really quiet. And somehow Keith got the best mic that worked.
Oh yeah.
Somehow.
When you're in front of a whole load of people and suddenly you look up and there's a lot of faces there and they're all staring at you, your voice, which in practice was like this, oh yes, I'm amazing!
Turns
Suddenly
into a
becomes,
mouse squeak. This is why whenever I go on stage, I bury myself in costume and never speak.
And then you can't see the record your
Stuff in the briefing, so people just can't take it right. It has to be set up.
And do it well.
Well, even just if not turned on, just this is how you hold it.
Yeah.
I'd like to say also, by the way, the videos generally were a lot better this year because they were shorter. So, well done for checking.
What was your
old men turning into Korean boy band.
6 minutes and 4 seconds. 6 minutes too long.
6 minutes. We had some issues with the judging. We had some serious issues with the judging. That's the alarm that says it's nearly time to end this panel, so we need to.
We need to go.
We need to move on.
Just one suggestion, I don't know if it's right or wrong, in between the time waiting for the judging, could you not consider doing some of the auction then, if you need time to fill space?
What the judges want to bid?
It was suggested, but the problem with that is that the cosplayers don't get a chance to bid in the auction.
No. While the judges are judging, it's only the judges who
Or
are
at least advertise what's going to be in the auction. People might stay for it.
There is an upside to that.
Yeah, but not many. Not everybody made it. You could still have people go, look, I've never made the for the last 3 years.
Well, we have the auction viewing before.
Yeah,
so we would want to probably duplicate that, but I think it's
But
probably
people
worth
in the
looking
masquerade
into.
queue won't be able to do that.
No, this is at the judging, after the masquerade.
No, I mean the auction night and viewing. I think everyone's in the dealer's room being queued up.
No, there was time before, unless they had like a really complicated costume, there was certainly time for us to have a nip in and look.
I'm not saying show everything, I'm just saying maybe highlight a few things.
I mean, we could try pushing the auction into that. I mean, do like 1 or 2 of the major charity items first.
I really liked it one year when we had the auction next to the masquerade.
While the judges are gone, the cosplayers are in there.
There's only 4 judges, there's 50 cosplayers, so the obvious thing is well, the judges are gone.
This time there were 71 cosplayers.
And the judges have enough shit in their houses already.
But I guess the question is, would people feel like they'd be trapped in being forced to do the auction if we do that?
Because
you would have been there anyway.
Well, that is true.
What would you rather be trapped by, an auction or a Korean boy band?
Auction!
I mean, people
like
the
Korean boy band.
There are a couple of faces there that went.
We could try it next year and see, maybe. No promises.
He loves change.
I love changes. Next thing. Videos. Do people actually watch videos these days?
Yeah.
I watched one.
There were some encoding issues with the ones I watched.
Because it looked interesting.
I didn't check it.
Bad
P-chat, bad. Was it?
Well, it went all pixely and stuff.
Yeah.
That's because
They're quite
very
rough.
recently, so I was expecting.
So encoding issues
on the anime videos.
Yeah.
At least a few of those that were very pixely.
Yeah, this year I haven't got a chance to check every video, so I know, right?
I did hear reports back about claiming. Children pay lost voices.
And when I watched the subtitles cut out after 10 minutes, it didn't actually.
You don't think Pete's going to watch more than 10 minutes?
It didn't make the show any worse, but.
What was it?
Did it make it any
I
better?
can't remember the name of it
We
now.
used to actually have a comedy dubbing panel. Maybe
Probably
this
Children Are Not of This World. It was awful.
Yeah, that happened.
No.
But yeah, no, this year was slightly different because I had the licenses from most of the anime on-demand stuff. So, and I could just download most of it, so it's kind of like, whereas before, I had to rip every bloody DVD there was, and re-encode that into computer, so I will take a look better if I have time.
Or we could learn
So
to
no.
navigate for that.
So what about...
He did. He made us watch our ages.
That's true.
I know.
That's true.
It was
We'll
like an
never
hour of
forgive
our
you.
life we'll never get back. You mean
With the videos as well, do people prefer more vintage stuff or more modern stuff? A mixed, or a bit of mixed.
Oh, question.
Where's Macross?
1991, baby.
So we normally have a video room on Saturday for video, which is one of the big rooms. We took out one of them this year on Sunday, because normally there's another video room down here. We took that out. So would you want that taken out for Saturday as well, so we have more events. Or do have, yeah, I know, that's... Well, I mean, just give...
I know. If you get lots of good events, then go for more events.
But then you've got so much event choice.
It means less video for me to work with.
I just think we could always take it out for a couple of times. It could be showing video like half in the morning and not in the afternoon.
It's not really feasible because the amount of tech that it takes.
It's more the movement of the equipment that I have issues with more than anything else.
It takes a lot of time to plug in, get working.
Well, you could run events in there maybe that don't mind having the switched off TV sitting in the background.
Yeah.
Do you have logging sheets for the gophers to indicate how many people in the room?
We really should, and every year I said we should do this, and every year
Yeah,
we get
I'm curious. Then you've got more than just anecdotal
evidence. Yeah. I mean, like having the room up for 5 and 6 is the best use of those 2 rooms.
Yeah.
So it's more like if we take away the room, even on Friday, no, just on Saturday.
To be honest, I didn't actually watch any video this con, but every time I passed the big room, there was only a handful of people actually in it. I never saw that room as packed as any of the other rooms, or even the bar.
Well, we could try taking that out next year.
And if people complain, then
we can put it back in. Maybe.
If they complain, they weren't here, so it's not your fault.
Merchandise. Yeah, t-shirts, con bags. Con bags already been covered. Yeah, pin badges. Are you guys liking that stuff?
Yes, I love it.
Awesome, but I lost mine.
Oh. Yeah, you can't have none. Probably will, but
I love.
they just said that they can't.
Can I say that I love the colour of the t-shirt this year?
Yes.
Instead of just the standard plain white, the actual red really set off the artwork.
the badge art.
Yeah, the badge art. Absolutely lovely, I think.
Let's have some colours.
Okay, is that the deep red or the lighter red?
I went for the deep red. I like the deep red.
Wait, there were two options?
Yeah, they were both red.
Yeah, most of the artist details are on the cover. They should be.
They were also the PR as well.
Yeah, so drop by and take a look at their work as well.
I love the banners as well. The banners out the front.
Okay, that's the same girl that did the
What about the sex of the fairy? Does that matter?
Oh yeah. I want a debate on this. I do.
Right.
I do.
I do.
Okay, let's just say the fairy is female, but she's a cosplayer, so sometimes she dresses as
I got overruled, so that thing, the banner outside was meant to be the original t-shirt design for this year, on a different background. But I was told that was not on. Minami Fairy has to be female.
Well, traditionally she's been female. Why ask?
I'm sorry.
Someone outside female. She can cosplay though. I mean, it doesn't matter.
The big banner, the standee, is that actually male?
Yes.
The worrying thing is how Pichan lifted it up to check. Oh no!
I thought you picked up a figure before.
Anyway, it's just a matter of
It's a fairy.
it was a tomboyish.
I thought you'd do that.
Yeah, I just assumed it was a tomboy.
Oh, games.
Yeah, have people been over to the games room?
Whenever I've gone over there, it's been really popular. There's been a lot of people in there.
Last night I was in there, it was looking a bit. I think the thing was with so many events here, and also getting cold in the evenings, people don't tend to make the cross into the car.
Yeah, I think in the evenings it does die down, but during the daytimes, look, I can see across there now. It's packed with people, and people are coming and going.
It's a good thing to just drop into when you've got like an hour free.
Yeah.
There's a good flavour between events.
I was just wondering, how people found the games room, and also any comments you've got to give back to Colin.
I really good to hear. They had like a NES set up, and I went over 2 different times and just asked what games they had, and they didn't know either time.
I'll tell Colin. I'll slap him out.
Sometimes the people behind the desk aren't DJI UK people.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're not going to, but like, even like a list, the games there.
Like piece of paper this one.
Oh yes, age-old debate this one actually. Because
2 years.
Yeah. But the maid cafe, do people prefer having the professionals come in, or do they miss players doing it?
Would you rather be served your cake and coffee by a very cute maid or by mad cat?
I find the maids being a little bit too much. It gets some
The maids are a bit too lady.
Yeah.
Did you say lady?
No,
Lady.
I think 1 year we should have like 2
competing cafes.
And very ridiculous.
We need to import the cafe down.
There you go.
The Yandera mate.
I made it.
How we
You
get
give them
Yandera?
obstacles as well, like a laser course.
Oh no,
together.
we should do it half and half. So you get 2 hours by maid, if you have 2 maids, 2 hours by.
Yandera mates. Just have them throw it at you.
Everyone.
So they have one.
I think it's.
The maid edition.
What did you have with this?
So if you like, don't be more novelty. Going that off the wall here. I think it's much more novelty in serve tea by Solid Snake or Sailor Moon or a character.
I think that's more fun.
Yeah, I think that's more
And it's
fun.
also slightly less uncomfortable for those of us who aren't very
Maybe we could do it half and half for the room.
Served by the master.
I do enjoy volunteering and helping out. It's a lot of fun.
I think there's something.
We don't have enough cake for all day.
I think there's something fundamentally more Minami-esque about having attendees, in drag or not, being maids.
Now, Joe.
I know you just want to be volunteers. You just volunteer yourself, by the way.
I've
only got 4
I have.
now.
I'm sure I've done it. I mean, I'm sure I've helped out.
I know
at the Minami Cafe.
It can be made to happen.
If I was at
I'm cosplaying maid for the cafe.
yeah, if I was at
I got there serving you food.
if I was at
Sparkles.
I am dessert.
I didn't make cafe.
If I was at Iacon, it probably wouldn't bother me either way, but it feels more Minami-like to have attendees doing the cafe.
I think that's something that attendees have missed a bit.
Yeah, I used to volunteer to do out with the main cafe when it's possible, and it was a lot of fun to do it.
And these aren't the only girls who enjoy it. There's a couple of
Yeah, a lot of people have said
a
that
lot
they
of
miss
girls
doing
who
it.
used to do the
Which is why I asked.
serving as well.
Maybe we'll bring that back next year.
I organised it at AME, and the people doing the serving had as much fun as the people coming.
There was 1 year that we had people bring cake on napkin on and then napkin on plate.
Volunteers do still need a little bit of training.
The shakes as well from drinking the night before, which I found that quite difficult when it's
Question. But you realise if Mo don't actually do this for us, and Neil will be deprived of his sort of annual fix and whatever I can do.
You won't just have to go to London.
So basically trying to get registration sorted out, and Neil just went completely into La La Gazeland because the maids were dancing in the foyer.
We can not have no way to do it, but we'll ban West Country from doing
Wessex.
it.
No, West Country, Devon, not we're Wessex.
Yeah, no, I was saying West Country. I
Oh,
think
right. Okay.
Mad Cat and them.
No, what you do is you run the West Country events against the maid cafe clients.
Excellent.
Just me. No, but I want to see a hairy man in a short skirt. Oh.
Amber, there wasn't a
They did strike Richards that year.
You enjoyed being a maid last time, didn't you, Amber?
Yeah. Moving back on to, we're trying to move it slightly later, rather than having slightly longer than 4:30 start.
Hooray!
To slightly 6, 7-ish. Any?
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Well, Miami the better.
What do you prefer to do on a Sunday evening, I guess? That's the...
Drink! I'm looking forward to tonight.
Look forward to another day tonight. I'm planning to be a tentacle monster, playing other tentacle monsters to try to capture as many schoolgirls as possible.
I played this game, and it's disturbing in the fun.
Yeah, and
I've got a whole bunch of card games with me tonight.
and the other question while we're talking
Yeah, sorry. You just want to say your thing quick.
Yeah, so we start Friday at 2. Would anybody prefer that starts slightly earlier?
I thought it was good because it's 5 in the morning, so you have to double crack the door to get here, like, and make sure they don't miss the train.
It does mean you can come down on the Friday morning and know you're not going to miss anything, assuming everything goes to plan.
That's what me and Karen had down Friday morning and get. I mean, we got here quite late.
Finding the people that are quite close will head down Friday morning, people that are quite far away will come down with it and stay the Thursday night and then probably end up sleeping in. So I think the time is probably...
So with the random time of the con then, you prefer to still have the late arrival of Friday but longer random time on Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah, suggestions for next year. Sorry, I always got completely so much. Any suggestions for events next year or anything whatsoever?
What do you want?
Is the theme still going to be the theme that we discussed last night?
What do you discuss last night?
It says what theme did I say?
I thought it was Peter's your idol, but
Having Keishan as our theme for next year, so we're going to dress him as Minami Fairy.
Didn't you already do that in like Minami 18?
And then do the make cafe as well.
Yeah. And Pete's going to be running every event. And he's not going to be allowed to touch tech at all.
No, seriously though, if anyone does have any suggestions for next year, it'd be interesting, something special I'd like to see. As usual, we have virtually zero money, so things that we can do ourselves, as always. Like we've had already the suggestion of an 80s anime theme for the karaoke night, or at least for a good chunk of the karaoke night. But anything simple like that, simple but fun, please, by all means, let us know.
and even if you have ideas for events but don't want to run them yourself, that's absolutely fine. We know enough people to be able to poke and find someone that will do it. Yes.
Hentai panel.
Hentai panel.
Not Minami, sorry. They work in the main summer cons, but...
We have over 12 on this con.
We have under 16s at this con, all the way down to 1.
But they're not 7 months.
Have to check the badge away.
Yeah, I mean, you can theoretically run.
Yeah, we don't want to scar them that early, basically. That's all it comes to.
Before we kill their joy for us.
I guess you could just do a lot of stuff on like 80s onwards.
Yeah, but if we had to sense of time, there'll be no
What year was this?
What year was the first round?
Let's just say we were
20 years. That would be
what?
1994.
No,
it'll either be 93 or 94 because the first Minami would have been just Minamicon, and then after that it was Minami 1, Minami 2, Minami 3.
Was it Minami 2?
No, it was Minami and then Minami 2.
That's logical.
Yeah. It was Minami and then Minami 2. So is that 94?
Yeah, so it would have been 94.
Was there anything happening in 94 anime? Something like that.
I don't know the list of the previous Is that not on the website?
Everything. Just go karaoke.
Make the sketch do a lot of work. Actually,
the same people singing all. I don't know if it's annoying to. I don't know. Anyway,
we give them whatever they.
The karaoke, you were saying it was the same people singing.
It's the same people.
Okay, so karaoke should be a bit wider spread.
all the songs get booked, and then the entire time it's just the people who were there at the start. From loads later on.
There's only one karaoke slot.
But the same people that have gone on several times, some people don't get a chance.
Chuck in the red one, say something there. Yeah, it might be red, but it's still red.
I was going to say, is there actually a list of the previous themes? Because I have going to Minamicon for 19 years.
Basically, me and Neil worked it out by looking at what con badges we have on record. I'm like, okay, that was witches.
Because I'd suggest something, but I have no idea what it's been done before.
The idea for this year partially came from Emmeline Dobson, who actually gave us some really nice artwork from last year.
On the grounds that we had a panel on it this year, Cyberpunk Fairy.
We need to figure out what would the fairy be wearing 20 years ago. I'm sure we've actually still got the original comic books.
Neon.
Retro comic.
Retro.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the original artwork.
We did. The Rangers thing.
How about 8-bit fairy?
Cyberpunk was absolutely massive in the mid-90s because of things like Bubblegum Crisis finally
That's an 8-bit fairy pixel art. We'll go back to retro. It's quite easy to design 3
cosplayers, 2 drag.
Sailor Moon. Sailor Jupiter.
With the theme, does it have to be strictly Japanese and anime related, or can it be westernised as well?
I think
Pirates! Well, there wasn't a problem with the Olympics, which is the only reason.
It wasn't the Olympics, it was a sport.
Oh, sport. Yeah. Sorry.
As long as it's something that the Japanese like, and the Japanese like pirates, because look how popular one is.
Well, yeah, most definitely.
If you can find it in Japan, fine.
I think we are. Yeah, we've massively overrun. Thank you so much, guys. If there's anything you haven't had a chance to mention or think about later, please post in the forum.
Thank you very much for the closing ceremony.